Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome back to this very thrilling soda review. Whereas today, we're going to take a look at the classic RC Cola. Today, I'm going to walk you guys through the history of RC Cola. And then I'm going to open this can and tell you guys exactly what I think about it. But tune in, because the history of RC Cola is very fascinating. So let's get into it. So RC Cola was originally created by a guy that was a licensed pharmacist that was named Claude A. Hatcher, in which he also co-owned a grocery store with his father. When Claude A. Hatcher and his father were selling groceries, they knew that both Pepsi and Coke were booming. And so they wanted to try their hand with the soda industry in some way. So what Claude A. Hatcher did is he met up with a guy that went by the name of Columbus Roberts, which was a major representative of the Coke company at the time. And he was trying to see if he could negotiate to get some discounts because he wanted to buy as much Coke as he could from Coca-Cola and then sell it at his store with his father. But Columbus Roberts was not having any of it, and he wouldn't offer any discounts to Claude. So this really ticked off Claude pretty bad, and he completely did away with Coke and said that he would never buy products from them ever again. So instead, what he did is him and his father, they came up with a ginger ale soda, and they actually did pretty good in the beginning with this. But they wanted to be more competitive, so they looked at a chart and wrote down on paper cola and ginger ale, and they were asking themselves which one sells more, ginger ale or cola, and they had realized that cola sells more. So I think they might have discontinued their ginger ale and went with cola because they wanted to double down on that to see if they could have more success. And that was when the birth of what was called Chero Cola came out. C-H-E-R-O. Now, they were doing very well with their Chero Cola, so much so that they were actually becoming quite a huge threat to Coca-Cola. By 1923, during World War I, they had become such a huge threat that Coca-Cola had filed a lawsuit against RC Cola, or against Claude A. Hatcher and his father, because they figured that they could use the Chero Cola as an excuse to being too close to Coca-Cola. Well, as fate would have it, Coca-Cola ended up winning that lawsuit, and they had to change their name from Chero Cola to just simply Chero. And this was very bad for the company. Sales dropped dramatically because of this, and they weren't doing near as good as they once were. Now, before they had created Chero Cola, they had gotten so into the soda industry that they abandoned their grocery store fully because they wanted to focus on soda. Now, because Claude and his father were stuck with the name Chero, it failed pretty dramatically, so they had to discontinue Chero altogether and try to come up with something else. And this time, they came out with a new fruit-flavored drink that was called Nehi, N-E-H-I. And this one actually did very well, too. But because it was in the Great Depression, and Claude had passed away, which he was the backbone of the company RC Cola, this was really, really bad for the company. But very luckily, as fate would have it, after Claude A. Hatcher died, there was a guy that came along named Hilary Mott, and he is actually the one who took over the RC Cola company and pretty much saved it from going into complete extinction. Now, a lot of you should know that RC Cola was actually the very first company to ever release a diet soda, and this is called Diet Right. And Diet Right was actually the very first flavor of soda that was ever released in aluminum cans in 1958. To backtrack a little bit, RC Cola was having a rough time, not only because Claude A. Hatcher had died, before, but it was also during the Great Depression, and this was also a time when sugar was very expensive. And Pepsi in the very beginning had a very similar issue with the sugar's prices. So they pretty much modified their own sugar to try to keep the company afloat. Now, as time goes by, when Hillary Mott had taken over the company of RC Cola, he had the soda hanged, and he paid to have it endorsed by 4 different celebrities. This was Bing Crosby, Gary Cooper, Claudette Colbert, and Shirley Temple. Now finally, by 1960, RC Cola was the official new name of the company. But in 1969, RC Cola ran into another problem, and there was a chemical that was inside Diet Right in most diet sodas that was called cyclamate. And cyclamate was pretty much tested by scientists by feeding it to rats, in which it caused bladder cancer. But as fate would have it, after many trials and tribulations, RC Cola has still survived to this very day, and in the beginning it was pretty much known as the joke of soda. Laughable because Pepsi and Coke were the big leagues ball players, while RC Cola in the very beginning was pretty much like this little kid shooting at the hoops. To this day, RC Cola is very highly underrated, and most people overlook it. And it's unsure what will happen to RC Cola, but one thing's for sure, because it's never been very great nowadays, it could be discontinued at any point. Now that I've given you guys the history of RC Cola, let's go ahead and open this thing up, and I'll tell you guys what I think about it. For those of you that don't know, RC Cola stands for Royal Crown Cola. ASMR alert. Wow. That has a very distinctly different and unique sweet taste. That actually tastes very similar to Pepsi, believe it or not. Oh my goodness, that is very, very similar to Pepsi. Wow. I think I want to say that it's sweeter than Pepsi. I actually don't recall if I've ever even tried RC Cola. I'm sure at one point in my life I might have, but I just haven't really given it an honest review, and I've been wanting to for a long time. Wow, this stuff is no joke. It's got plenty sweetness to it. It tastes unique enough to where you could probably distinguish it from Pepsi and Coke. But the ingredients seem to be just a little bit different to where it's definitely its own thing, to where it gives it a distinct taste. That's not to say that I couldn't distinguish this in a blind taste test, because I haven't had this enough. But this is actually pretty good for any soda fans out there that want to explore their taste buds. You definitely should get your hands on an RC Cola because it's pretty dang decent. It's crisp, it's smooth, it's sweet, and is overall very good. I would give RC Cola a very solid 7.5 out of 10. And if you've not tried this, definitely get your hands on it. Okay, you guys, that's it. You guys know what to do. If you're new here and you need something to do, maybe you're just really bored, please check out my video, the Banana Sprite Challenge, where you will get to see if I pass or fail that challenge. I will make sure to leave the link of that video down in the description of this video. And for all other extras and even ways to help support this channel, it's all listed in the description down below. Maximus the Fourth here. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.